you believe that, baby? We're back. We're back on top of the NBL. The Hawks are the champions 2025. How does it feel? We got special guest Carter Stamp, the biggest Hawks fan you'll ever meet. We've got my main man, Sammy, fired up. Let's talk about this, guys. First, we're going to thank our sponsors, Enable U2 and Principal Brewing. We're going to cheers.
Get the confetti out of my drink.
Get the confetti out of the drink. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, Carter. All right, how good? Little sneaky sip. Now, let's talk about this game. Carter, what was the score in this game?
114 to 104 to the Hawks.
To the mighty Illawarra Hawks. An incredible game. The atmosphere was absolutely buzzing at the WEC. Go through some of these stats, Sammy boy.
All righty. The Hawks shot an impressive 54% field goal percentage throughout the entire game. Now, that was an impressive 7 from 18 threes compared to Melbourne's 14 from 36 threes.
Now, let's just run down through that a little bit. Now, we've said all season about the Hawks that we don't necessarily need threes to win and even to rack up some big scores. So only hit 7 threes and rack up 114 points. That is huge. All right. They had twice as many shots at 3 as us. All right. They hit twice as many. So we're at the same percentage, but that was obviously a focal point for them. We dominated them where, Carter? Where do we dominate them? Inside the what?
Inside the Win Entertainment Center.
We did.
Oh, yeah.
We dominated them in the paint. Absolutely dominated them. 64 to 30 in points in the paint. That is the Hawks' bread and butter. It's been that all season. I know we've said that when we do score over 10 threes, we're impossible to beat, but we can win because we just like to push the tempo, and they did that tonight. What was the rebound count, Carter? We dominated them on the boards. Can you see that up there?
No.
53 to 30. Dominated them on the boards. Absolutely killed them. What else have we got, Sammy boy?
Now we've got our free throws. And Carter, we've been talking about it. You know that this is a big one for the Hawks. I know you love your cheeseburgers, mate. And we got quite a few of them, don't we? We were 17 from 23 for the Hawks. And Melbourne were 32 from 45. Now, what does that say? 32 from 45. What do you think about that?
A terrible mon.
Terrible man. And also, they delivered some cheeseburgers, and it was delivered by our man Delhi. So he delivered some cheeseburgers. And that was a little bit of a turning point, I think. He missed those two, and then we went down. I think we might have got an and one to extend our lead. All right, that's a huge turning point. Whenever someone goes to the line, you got freebies there, and you miss them both, and then the other team makes you pay. It's a big turning point. It's a 5-point swing if you get that 3-point play. So let's have a look at some of the key contributors to this massive win on Sunday afternoon. All right, so Kell.
Oh.
Well, Trey Kell with step back 3.
Woo! Oh, how good was it, Carter?
It was
Killed it.
key. It was a key part of the game.
It was. How many points did he have, buddy?
He had 26 points.
26 points. Absolute machine. How many rebounds?
He had 11 rebounds.
11 rebounds. Absolutely dominated with 11 rebounds and 7 assists. What about our deadly love by Davo Hickey, Sammy boy? MVP. 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 What we stat line, my man?
The MVP himself. Don't get me started about this. 21, 10, and 8. Mr. Consistency himself has not absolutely dropped a game where he has not had at least 8, 8, and 8.
Flirted with a triple-double again.
Flirting again. He was
Crazy.
$82 for a triple-double, Corey. $82 to hit that line.
Crazy. And what about our man, Wani Swaka Lo Lockdown? We even said last episode.
Lockdown defense with Wani.
He loves it. And seriously, we said this. We don't really need him to score points, but if he does, it's an absolute bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And he racked up 16 of them.
He locked up Delhi.
He locked up Delhi hard card, a great call. And he also helped on Goulding. Now, we'll talk about Goulding. Goulding had 21 points, but he was on 5 of 15 shooting. So that's not a great efficiency from him. So if he's doing that, he took some pretty poor shots too, which played into the Hawks' hands and allowed the Hawks to run and get some easy buckets in transition. So What are some other stats from the Melbourne United Sammy boy?
Now, we all know that he loves to shoot his threes. And Carter, we've got a big one this week for Goulding. He was a terrible Samuel Dobell's tile, hitting the 3-pointers. He was 3 from 12. Can you do that in the league at this day and age?
No way. And Carter, you almost hit your first 3 in a game the other day, mate.
Yeah.
It was probably about this far off. Beautiful. I was right behind it. Come out of the hand. Beautiful. Swish. I thought it was a 3. I went up with the Squid Game 3. Lee, fingers in the face, but he was just inside the 3-point line. But it's coming, buddy. I know that 3 points coming for you. But it was lovely to see Goulding go 3 of 12. All right. It was so good to see that. Now, a big stat too. Delhi was kept to 5 points. Incredible. Illy was on his return was pretty effective. He had 20 points. So pretty impressive from him. Who else do you think was impressive for them, Sammy boy?
I reckon Marcus Lee.
Marcus Lee.
He was all right, except for that air ball to the free throw.
That was when he injured his arm. And then, the second free throw, he ended up shooting with his other hand. And he hit it. And he hit it. But, you know what? I felt he spent more time on the ground than Chris Goulding, and that's pretty hard to do. He was falling over with I thought he was out of the game 3 times, but he just kept coming back.
I thought it was my league. That's what
So Marcus Lee, very interesting. So anyone else? What do you think, Sammy boy?
What do you think about Shea Illy? Shea Illy had 20 points, Carter. It was his first game back after missing 2 with concussion. He still looked like he was showing some concussion symptoms out there. But, he had 20 on his return. What do you think about that?
It's pretty good with having an injury.
Yeah, I agree. He did well coming back from injury.
Trey Kell didn't have a very good start when he came back from his injury. So
yeah, good. His first couple of possessions, even said, I saw it in an interview. He was like, I wasn't too happy. I missed an easy layup and something else also he wasn't happy with. But he goes, once I hit that first shot, I felt like I got into my groove. And then he kicked on. I have to say, before the start of the game, it was great to see Shea Illy had a big family representation there. They all had big Shea Illy T-shirts on. And it was really great to see, even though obviously they're supporting the other team. It was a great look, I thought, having the whole family there. Was probably 50 to 100 people there to support Shea Illy. And it was really nice. And I remember walking past saying to them, all the best to him. I hope he has a great game. It's never good to see a player miss games because of injury, especially in a final series. But let's have a talk about key moments of the game. Now, the big key moment for me in this game, I'm going to try and single. There was lots of great moments, but obviously the Hawks didn't start this game very well. We were down 20-10 early on in the first quarter. And then they called a timeout and we got it back to about 20-16, which was really important because I felt if Melbourne scored the next 6 points and we were down 26-10, we could have been in trouble. But we fought our way back, got it back to 26-26. And the second half was really interesting, a bit of back and forth until the Hawks towards the end start building a lead. Then with about 5 seconds to go in the half, the Hawks traditionally this season have been quite poor at taking last shots, which early, and then that leads to the other team scoring the last basket. But they didn't do this time. They ran a beautiful play, got Toddy Blanchfield open at the top of the key, and the rest is history. It was nothing but net. That extended the lead from 57-50 to 60-50 heading to the halftime. And the Wynn Entertainment Centre was buzzing, and people were starting to believe if they could, because the Hawks have given up plenty of 10-point leads. But I thought that was a huge moment in the game. Now, Sammy, before I ask Carter, what was your big moment in the game?
The biggest moment, and it was the absolute turning point for me, I reckon. It just showed why the boys deserved to win the game, and it shows what this team has been about. There was a possession there where we were up by 10 points, as we had been for most of the game. Melbourne United went on a little bit of a scoring run. I think they hit 2 back-to-back threes that we couldn't answer. So the boys were up 4. We then managed to somehow get it back up to 8. And then on the very next possession, there was a terrible miss.
They missed a 3 in the corner. It was open too.
Wide open 3. Rob Lowe misses it. Comes right off the front of the rim. All 3 of the boys that were in there in the paint at that time, I think it was Hickey, Greeter, and Kell all went up for it. It's come off Greeter's hands. Kell's got the rebound. He started dribbling, absolute Energizer Bunny down the court, goes up for a layup, misses it, comes down, Next thing you know,
Melbourne's got the rebound there.
Melbourne's got the rebound, and we're like, oh, here we go. We've just lost, a crucial possession. Bang, straight out of the hands by Greeter, straight into the hands of Lee, who flicks it out into Hickey in the corner, straight up, hits it, gets the foul, and it's an N1 play.
Huge.
The crowd went absolutely ballistic. That put the boys up 11 points by that point in time. And that was with 4 minutes and 42 seconds remaining of the third quarter. Now, from that moment in time, they were absolutely unstoppable from my point of view. But the biggest one of them all, and I feel like this is what, really pushed the Hawks over the line. And you mentioned it before, Carter, but your moment of the game, what was it?
It was Trey Kell, step back.
Yeah, unbelievable it was.
It was a great move, great three, swish.
Unbelievable. And it was a really key moment of the game. It was the start of the fourth quarter where the Hawks were up 10. And again, this whole series, they've early in those fourth quarters when they had those 10-point leads, quickly that gets down to single digits. And they had it down to 5. And I remember thinking, oh, God, this is 8 minutes still to go. It's an eternity. If they score the next bucket and it gets down to 2 or 3 or 1 possession, oh, my God, I don't think my heart's going to be able to handle this. But Kell gets it. Takes off the dribble, step back, and I was like, oh, I don't know. This is the right shot. And nothing but net. And I just went, we're back out to 8 points. And then I don't think they were able to cut it any finer for the rest of the game. It was a really big turning point, Carter. I agree with you. That step back was unbelievable. And it's a sort of shot that Melbourne has been hitting a lot of. It's a Goulding type of shot. And it was a really big moment. Now we're going to move on and we're going to talk about probably the thing that's...
Talk about what happened before the game.
Oh, what do you think? What happened before the game?
Well, I did a little sneaky down to the court.
Oh, before the game?
Yeah.
Oh.
Stuck down past the security.
You sneaky little boy. Don't tell them your secrets because then next year they might not let you do it.
No, I didn't see me.
You are a genius at doing that, Carter, I have to say. But let's talk about the biggest controversy of this game. And unfortunately, it's probably overtaken the fact that the Hawks are the actual champions here. It's getting more media coverage than the Hawks actually winning, which is a little bit disappointing. It's the MVP controversy. Now, Delhi was named MVP, and there's been a lot of
he showed heaps of respect. He
did. But the thing that people are really disappointed with was that the Illawarra fans booed when he received it. Now, I was in the crowd, and I know when it happened, I sort of turned to the people around me and sort of said, "Don't boo. It's not his decision. It's not his decision getting the MVP. Other people have made that decision." But I personally think people weren't booing him; they were booing the decision. And the decision, I think most people can agree. And I did a lot of stat burning today. I looked at all 5 games. And Delhi finished the series with stats of 14 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Pretty impressive stats, I have to say. But that was in 31 minutes of game time per game. Hickey, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists in 23 and a half minutes per game of game time. So he's already producing more and equal stats in some categories in 8 minutes per game less time. To me, that says that you're the MVP of this final series. I think the controversy about the booing, people need to understand we're not booing. They weren't booing Matthew Dellavedova.
No.
They were booing the decision. And I think most people will agree the decision was wrong. There's a flaw in the system with giving points out for every game. Basically, Delhi had it won after game 4 because no one could catch him. So I think you need to look at it as a collective at the end of the series, have a panel of people who then
not
decide.
just the finals.
Not
game 5.
Yeah, not just the not each game voting. It should be like look at the games as a collective, not as individual games, because what you're going to be left with is sometimes a team who doesn't win having the MVP. And to me, that seems crazy. If you're the most valuable player, your team should not lose. So in a final series, what are your thoughts on it, Sammy?
Oh, look, considering the people on the panel all have a job to keep at the end of this. Obviously, the panel consisted of Olgun Ulick, Derek Rucker, Andrew Gaze, Beck Allen, and the legend Larry Stenstock himself. For me, I think moving forward within the league, obviously, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the Hawks and everything lately. You know, it's diminished what this club's been able to achieve. We're the only surviving foundation club since 1979, the year my mum was born. So that's telling you something, that my mum was born the same year as the club that's just won the championship has won. But the biggest thing for me is, regardless of, you know, having an independent panel or, you know, having all of these legends of the game being a part of this panel, there is no way that it should have come down to a 3-point differential and that it should have been given to Delhi. But at the end of the day, as we have said, we want to preface that we were not booing. The fans were not booing for Dellavedova himself. Delhi has been a class guy since day one, since his days back with LeBron and the Cavs, winning an NBA championship, to Melbourne, to everything that he does in there as well. We have always said from the start of this podcast that players on the court are a different type of person than what they are outside of the court. You bring that different mentality into the game, and he's been an amazing player this playoff so far, and we're not going to discredit that, but it should have gone to the team that won. I think it's pretty lackluster and pretty unfair that the team that has been in the league since 1979 has come from absolutely nothing, has come from heartache, has come from all of the nothing, to a kid that could not get a run in Melbourne, was playing 1 minute a game, not even a minute per game, to then becoming a literal piece of history in a championship team, and you don't give it to him. There's something wrong with that.
And in the end, I have to say this. People were like, "Oh, it's crazy, Hickey didn't get it." The first thing I thought of is, you go, you know what? It actually sums up the Hawks and their season, because I said in an early podcast, I actually don't want any of the Hawks to win the league MVP, because I think if someone wins the league MVP, we probably can't win the championship. The reason why we won this championship this year is because we didn't necessarily have the best players, but we had the best team. They played for each other. They enjoyed each other's company. They played great basketball together. So it was partly quite fitting that we didn't have the player who won MVP of the final series, because then it just proves we're not about doing it for individual accolades. We're about winning for each other and for the team. So I thought it was quite fitting that happened, even though obviously I'm disappointed for Hickey, but I'm pretty sure if you said to Hickey, what would you rather, MVP or win the championship, he's going to say, give me that chip every day of the week. So, and again, I have to say, Delhi, super class act, going down and passing it to Hickey. That was a really great moment in sport. Everyone will remember that for a very, very long time. And we never questioned Delhi. He's definitely a class act.
Yeah.
So let's move on. We're going to talk about not necessarily the play of the game, but our story and the thing that we're going to remember. So I'm going to start with you first, Carter. Now, you've had a particular player that you've connected with over these last 2 seasons, and it's been actually amazing to watch. Can you please tell me what happened when you got down onto the court at the end of the game?
Oh, well, I went to my favourite player, aka my friend, Lee. He gave me a hug, gave me his jersey.
Oh, and what did he say to you?
He said, we couldn't have one without you, Carter.
That is quality. You were never going to... And
I'll never forget that day.
And did you get a little bit emotional?
Yeah.
You know what? And I'm not going to lie. I cried so many times through this day. Even
Dad, I did too.
That's, mate. And you know what? It's okay, because it means a lot to you. It means something to you.
Means something to you.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you did that. So you've been following this team since you're like a baby, mate. We took you to games as a little kid, and you've gone through many, many tough times. So that's the reason I'm so happy they won that, because you got to live it and got to experience it, and you experienced every moment, and you let all the emotions out, and that's going to make it really memorable for you. So, and also, mate, you got something else. You're very, very good at getting things. Who else? You got someone's shoe. Who'd you get?
Toddy's.
Toddy Blanchfield, the golden child. mate, and he's going to be playing NBL 1. So there's a sneaky chance if you bring that shoe to an NBL 1 game, he might get that. You might get that signed. That's epic. A game-winning championship player's shoe in Game 5, incredible, and a game-worn jersey.
That's like my 7th pair of shoes.
That is crazy.
From NBL players.
But that Lee jersey, mate, that's going to go. There's only 13 players who actually have those, and you're going to have one of those 13 jerseys that created in history. Only our 2nd ever championship. Absolutely incredible. Now,
I whispered to one of the coordinators.
Yeah. Give me my jersey. That's it.
And they said, yeah. And he said, "You want me to give you your jersey?"
That's so cool.
And I said, are you really giving me it? And he said, "Of course."
He's one of the great guys, I have to say. In all his interactions that I've seen with Carter, he's just a really gentle soul and a really beautiful human being. And it's been so good to have him in our team and part of our franchise. And I hope he stays. We love Squid Game 3. He is outstanding. Now, my story of the game would have to be I guess, how emotional the day was for me. I remember even just before even getting to the game, I found myself holding back tears, and I couldn't. I was crying. When I got to the game and seeing people who go to the game all the time, I got emotional about that. And then probably with maybe 2 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, I remember Lockie Aldrich. We got a bucket, then we got a stop, and we were up 12, and he took it down, and he finished a great layup under the bucket and led it to 14 with about 2 minutes 20 to go. And then in my head, I'm like, we've actually got this. And the tears started flying. I just ran down the stairs and just started screaming. And my mate, who's been going to the games with me for many, many years, ran down, and we just hugged each other and embraced. And it was just a really special moment. It's something I won't forget. And then with a minute to go, I ran over to Carter, and we got to spend a little bit of a moment together as well. It was quite emotional. Because I know how much it means to him. So that was probably my story of the game. What about you, Sammy?
I think just actually finally getting to witness something good for the Illawarra. I mentioned it on the last podcast. I've had to listen to Corey's stories, listen to my parents' stories, listen to everyone else's stories about how good 2001 was, and then obviously having to ride the absolute highs and the absolute low of the lows with the Hawks. But I couldn't have done it without the people that were there. So I want to give a big, massive shout out to the both of you, because you guys are always there. You're always there in support. You guys have been absolute legends throughout the series and, throughout my life. Big, massive shout out to Dave and Renee, my godparents, absolutely beautiful people. KS, you're an absolute legend, buddy. Big, massive shout out to my mum and dad as well. We would not have been able to go to those games without them driving us there, doing tickets, mum frantically trying to get finals tickets and all the rest of it the other day. So, we were there and we were in that moment because she knew what it meant to me as a person, but she also knew what it meant to our family. And, as Corey said, with about a minute to go, he ran down to Carter. With a minute to go, I climbed over the seats, and, Corey and I were sitting next to each other. But I climbed over the seats and I just went up to my family, and I just spent the last minute with them, because that's what it's all about. That's what that club is about. That's what this all means. It was for family.
About family.
Absolutely
exactly
right.
We rise together.
We do rise together, buddy. That was outstanding. And you know how good it was? I heard. I missed it. We've been asking for the theme song the whole season.
And they played it.
The country version. Hawks, blah. So that's awesome. We've been asking the whole season. They got it done. But I'm devastated. And I'm just devastated that I missed it. But I'm just so stoked they played it. But Carter, I want to ask you. Now, I'm a school teacher, and I went to school today, and all the kids know how much, the whole school knows how much I love the Hawks. I think at every assembly at the end, I just always say, go the Hawks. And everyone knows that I love the Hawks and passionate about the Hawks. And I know your whole school knows you are too. So what did you ask?
So recess day, asked my assistant principal on the loudspeaker in front of the whole stage 2 and stage 3, year 6, year 4, year 3, and year 5. In front of all of them, if I could say a big round of applause to the Hawks and their win of the championship.
And then what did you do? You said, let's give him how many?
3 cheers.
And you said a pip.
All right.
And the whole crowd, the whole school responded with hoorays. Like, what a legend. You're going to go down as a legend at that school. So to wrap this little episode up, we're going to say who has been our player or someone who we think has like stepped up in this season and really shown themselves. Now, I'll start with you, Carter. I think I might know your answer, but who is your player of this season, the player you've enjoyed?
I would probably have to say Kell.
Kell? I thought you were going to say HJ Lee, but you're going to say Kell.
Lee is my favourite player, but Kell has been probably my favourite to watch.
Yeah. Excellent.
Or probably would be Trey Kell, Days, or Blanchfield.
Excellent. That's a very good answer. Now, I want to let Sammy go next because I don't want to steal who he might. I've got 2 in my head. So if he says one, I'll go the other. So I'm going to go you, Sammy.
I'm going to give you a 2 because you've got more information about that than I probably would. But this one means more to me. And there's 3 blokes that I know that this meant the absolute world to. They've been there since the beginning. And I've been chatting to him all of this week in the lead up towards it all. And we did it. And I sent him a message. And I know he didn't get around to messaging back straight away. But as soon as we had it done and he got a chance to message, he just wrote back in all caps, "Let's go, baby. Let's go." But big, massive shout out to Dan Greeter, to the man Sam Frawling himself, and to Tyler Harvey. Those guys have been through possibly the worst and horrible 5 years that you can ever experience in a club history.
How long has Dan Frawling been at? He's probably been more.
No, he was there from when he was about 17 or 18. He was there when LaMelo Ball started. That was his first season as a Hawk. So he has been there. Yeah, that was his first season. And funnily enough, you know what? He wasn't the type of player he was now. He was a guy who shot threes all the time. He was a stretch guy who could shoot the 3, but that's definitely changed. He's definitely inside presence. So, mate, I like that. You got anything more to say?
Just a big, massive shout out to the 3 of you. I know since Tyler coming in 5 years ago, the 3 of you have been quite literally the only 3 that we've built around. Everyone else has come and gone in that time with imports, with new players, all the rest of it. But it's been you 3, the prodigal sons, the adopted sons and brothers of the Illawarra Hawks. We love the 3 of you. Big, massive raps to Sammy. We love you, mate. We know you're going in for surgery this week. So there's
some good news on that. I read today that it's only a partial tear, and there is some chance he might be able to play next season. So that is actually great news. I'm glad you brought that up. So now it's my turn. And I just thought we got some confetti from the court. I'm going to leave that boxed up, and that's not going to be released ever. So how cool is that? So that was from Sammy. Got me that, and I had it in my pocket last night. I thought I'll put it into a little container. Now, my players. Okay, I get to say 2 now. I thought that you might have said 1. I'm going to go first. I'm going to say Lockie Ulbrich. Now, I put him under a little bit of the pressure, saying that this game was a different beast to what he did when he filled in for Froling in that game 4 where he was outstanding. But you know what? He absolutely delivered in that game 5. He backed it down. He was fearless. He didn't care who was in front of him, whether it was Lowe or Lee. He was scoring. He came up with many, many big plays. He was great defensively. And I think these last 2 games are the making of this kid. I hope that he stays with us, but there could be bigger and better things for Lockie. That was, as a 21-year-old, to step up in that moment when a lot of people would have crumbled was very, very special. Now, the final person I'm going to talk about, and he's probably the man of the year, it's deadly love by Davo Hickey, mate. Absolutely outstanding. We gave you a little bit of grief early in the season when you were talking chip talk, and we were like, man, I don't know about this. But he said this is a championship team. And you know what? He stepped up in the 2 biggest games of his life and absolutely delivered. And that is going to make him go down in Hawks history as one of the all-time Hawk greats.
Just like Will Hickey.
Yeah, Will Hickey is going to go down as one of the greats just based on those 2 games. People will talk about him for years to come based on those performances. They were absolutely spectacular. It's the fact that he fills the stat sheet. He just doesn't do one thing. He's not just a scorer. He can rebound the hell out of the ball for someone small. He can facilitate. Your favorite word there, Sammy. He loves to facilitate. He can play out of his skin at the defensive end. He was just absolutely spectacular. And now I've said it many times, but Mickey D said he would be the league MVP, and I laughed at him. Now, next year, he may just be the league MVP. And you know what? He should have been in the finals, and Mickey D was absolutely filthy that he didn't get it because I think he wanted to brag to everyone that he called that preseason. So he was filthy. But Will Hickey, you are the man of the season, in my opinion. You delivered on your chip talk. There's not many people who can do that. The only people I think who've done it is Michael Jordan, who says, we will win, we will get this job done. And he got the job done. You did it too, mate. Super impressive. And
Michael Jordan, but for the NBL.
The world is your. I heard a little rumor too. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if my mate was taking the mick. But did Will Hickey get called up to the G League? Is that?
The G League?
Is someone pulling my leg or what?
More to come, Hawkheads.
More to come.
More to come, Hawkheads. Stay tuned.
Boston Celtics or something. I don't know. Well, this is
Good team too.
This is G League. I don't know. My mate might have been taking the mick, but research next episode when we come back and we talk about. Yeah, I think
That's
next
where the NBA players get started.
Yes, I think the next episode we might do a little season wrap, try to talk about all the Will Hickey maybe, and we'll talk about the season that was. We'll go through different games, and we'll talk about maybe some of
next season with the players.
And we're going to also be looking at doing some NBL one stuff.
You know
what did you
Clark might be coming back to the Hawks.
Oh, that's a huge scoop. If we get,
I also heard there was a rumor that Sam Froling was going to the Kings, but not now with his injury.
No, he's not going there, mate.
Not now with his injury.
No, he's staying with us.
Yeah.
So, any final words, Sammy?
Let's go Hawks!
Oh, I love those final words. What about you, Sammy?
Nothing else to say.
You called me crazy.
You called me crazy. My final words are thank you to the Basketball Fix. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not be able to have experienced what we've experienced. This has been an absolutely magical season for us, and to be part of a podcast for our favorite sports team, and they deliver a title after 24 years.
Go on, Hawks!
Absolutely unbelievable. Go, you Hawks. Fly. We are the champions, my friends. And
Speaking of champions, though,
what?
One person we forgot to mention.
Who?
Big Birdo from the Tassie Takeover.
What a pleasure.
You made the trip down.
To the game too?
He did.
Savvy was there too, but Big Birdo from the Tassie Takeover, making the trip down from Sydney, taking time away from his family to come and spend time with these two crackers, watching the game, being stuck in the middle of us, and just getting absolutely involved and amongst it. It was beautiful to watch, mate. So thank you.
Thank you, mate. We love you.
And again, thank you to the Basketball Fix. Big things to come. Stay tuned at all of their socials at the Basketball Fix, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, whatever you're using, get onto it. Give us a like, give us a follow. Go spam their comment section at the moment with Hawks Hangout is the best podcast alive. And as always, Carter, sign it off.
By you.
Hawks fly.